Well, welcome everybody. Excited to have you with us for Crush It 2019. The 3 secrets to crushing it in the next year and beyond instead of being crushed by the big 3 changes that are happening in real estate right now and are going to be happening. And so I want to congratulate you for joining me. Thank you for joining me for this very special webcast, as my goal today is to help you get ready to actually crush it in 2019. Because no matter how good you are and how effective you are, if you're doing the wrong stuff, you're not going to get the right results, right? So think about it this way. The very first time I went door knocking, and I've had my real estate license since the 1900s. I got my real estate license in 1998. So it's 20 years ago that I started selling real estate. And when I started selling real estate, my number one strategy was prospecting on the phone. And in 1998, when I started prospecting on the phone, there was something interesting. For those of you that are younger, you may not even remember this. If you're watching this and you're a millennial, back then, everybody still had home phones. They actually had home phones. They had home telephones. And if they answered it, they would talk to you. And it was an interesting thing. And that has over time changed to where that today, most people, unless they've been in the same house for over 10, 15 years, most people don't even have a home phone. I cannot tell you, I can tell you this, that since I moved to California 10 years ago, I have not had a home phone. I have not had a home phone since 2000. And I don't even know when I lived in Texas. I don't even know when the last time I had a home phone there. I know in like 2002, I had a home phone because I was prospecting from my home office. And so I remember that, but things have changed, right? So when I started selling real estate, I started prospecting by the phone and it was working well. However, my trainer kept telling me, my coach kept saying, if you'll go door knock, you're going to get better results. I mean, you're better face to face. And I'm like, I don't want to go door knock. I'm like one of those, I hate rejection. And if I get somebody hangs up on the phone for me, it's not that painful. You guys, if you guys feel what I'm saying, just go like, I feel you. And just type it in the comment bar here. By the way, for those of you that are using the chat bar, if you have a question, hold the questions till the end. Okay, so for the last 15 minutes of this webcast, I'm gonna set aside to answer your questions. So if you type them in now, they're gonna get lost in all the stream of comments. Okay, so don't put the questions down, just write your questions down, and hopefully you have a pen and paper right now, because I'm gonna give you a lot of stuff with these 3 secrets that you will want to take notes on. So make sure you got a pen and paper, and any questions you've got, write them down, and so I can answer your questions when the time comes. But if you ask them now, it's gonna not work, okay? So, but I can see over there, I feel you. Yeah, so nobody that I've ever met really enjoys rejection. Now, some people it doesn't bother that much. I envy you, congratulations, that's awesome. However, just because you can take rejection still doesn't mean, if you can take enough rejection, it doesn't mean you're gonna succeed in real estate today. So finally, after Dan Galt, my coach, kept saying, go knock on doors. Finally, one day I decided, okay, I'm going to do it. You have to kind of wind yourself up to do something that's really, really scary to you. So I just remember winding myself up and getting everything in my head ready, and then procrastinating probably for a couple of hours. And then finally I got out there and went to start door knocking, and I was going to go door knock for sell by owners. So I had my list of for sale by owners, and the very first for sale by owner was in Hurst, Texas. They're in Fort Worth. And I remember pulling up in front of the house, walking up the long sidewalk up the front yard to this big country porch. And I remember stepping up onto the porch and just hearing this thud of my dress shoes clomping on the big porch. And about halfway across the porch, before I got to the front door, I just remember hearing this voice come through the screen door from the other side saying, and there was nobody standing there in the door. I didn't see anybody, but it was just, I heard this voice go like, are you a realtor? And I'm like, I don't have a script for that. I mean, I didn't know what to say. I'm sure I said something like, yes, sir. And he says, then get the blank off my porch. And I was not used to hearing language like the blank. That kind of language was just kind of not, I wasn't used to that. And it freaked me out. So I got off his porch. I'm sure very, very fast. But needless to say, I was not prepared for that encounter. I was not prepared for what was going to happen. And so guess who did not get a listing that day? That's right. I didn't get a listing. That was the last door I knocked for probably a couple of years. It so rattled me and I was so unprepared that I literally backed into my corner and said, that's it. I'm out. I'll still call, which I did. And I still made a lot of money. I took 19 listings that first 6 months in the business. I took 42 listings that my second year, my third year, I took 96 listings and was doing over 100 deals. But almost all of it by the phone because I was not prepared to expand beyond a one-dimensional business. And that one-dimensional business worked very, very well for me. I built it on for sale by owners. I built it on expireds on the phone, and I've literally made millions of dollars off for sale by owners and expireds and commissions. However, I have coaching members today and coaching members in the past that I've coached that using the same one-dimensional strategies are starving because the world has changed, probably more than any of us could imagine. And so today we're going to talk about what are the 3 secrets to crushing it today. Not what worked back in the 1900s when I started, but what works today. What are my coaching members using today that are allowing rookies to make over $250,000 in commissions their very first year in the business, that are allowing agents to add $250,000, top producers to add $250,000 in income to their business year after year. What is it going to take? What are the secrets to doing that are working right now? Because if you are not prepared for the big 3 changes that are happening in the world today, it's going to be a tough go if you survive it all. Just so you guys understand, when I did our 2018 business planning webcast a year ago, there were about 1.3 million agents in the United States, 1.3 million realtors. And at the end of December, every realtor that is a member of the National Association of Realtor has to do a thing that we call renew, right? You have to renew your membership with NAR. And there were over 200,000 realtors who did not renew. Now, was that because they planned to get out because they had made so much money that they didn't need to sell real estate anymore? Probably not. Right? They got out because they were not prepared to succeed in this business, in this time. And if you're not prepared to handle, the 3 big changes, you don't know the secrets to win with these 3 big changes happening, it's just going to be, I don't want you to become one of those statistics. And so I want to congratulate you for joining me for this because it puts you in a position to not be one of those victims. So, what are the 3 big changes that are happening in the real estate that are affecting the real estate industry right now? Number 1 is technology. Technology is changing the world faster and in a greater way than we could have ever imagined. I mean, I'm speechless to even try to describe how technology has changed everything. So I'll do it with this one little test. Okay, I'm going to give all of you a test. Are you ready? When you wake up in the morning, what is the very first thing that you touch with your hands? When you wake up in the morning, what is the very first thing that you touch? And I will bet that for the vast majority of you, it's this. This is the very first thing you touch. It is your alarm. It is your scheduler. It is what? What is it not? It's everything, right? Your cell phone is the world, right? Technology, the way we interact with people, technology has changed all of it. I call technology the great disruptor. And not that it's all bad, but it has disrupted and changed everything. And if we're not prepared to take advantage of the ways it's changed things, then we're gonna get left behind. By the way, technology is just like, it's like a supersonic jet. It's powerful. Now, it can be dangerous. It can hurt you. It can do bad things. It can do good things. It is a tremendous opportunity. The key is you got to be prepared for how to handle and utilize the technology shift because, a lot of people are saying technology is actually going to make agents obsolete. Woo. So, right, here you go. Disruptor, right? The second big change that is affecting the real estate industry is trust. And what I mean by that is the level of trust in our culture has degraded dramatically. And for those of you that have heard me speak before and heard me talk about this before, that in 1972, the Gallup poll, in one of their surveys, they surveyed, in the United States, they surveyed people and they said, very simple question, do you trust your neighbor? Do you trust your neighbor? And nearly 70% of all Americans said, yeah, I trust my neighbor. The person that lives next door to me, the person that lives on either side of me, I trust them. In 2016, they asked the same survey, same question. They ask again, do you trust your neighbor? Nearly 70% of the same Americans said, nope, I don't trust my neighbor. Not do you trust strangers, not do you trust people that are, knock on your door. Do you trust the people that live next to you? And now 70% of Americans say, I don't even trust the person who lives next door to me. I don't even trust my neighbor. Would you agree that trust is at the lowest point in our culture that it has ever been in our lifetime and probably in the history of America? The trust is lower than it has ever been. Now, there's a whole lot of reasons for that, but the reasons are unimportant. The impact of that means that when you talk to people today that do not know you, and sometimes even people that do know you, their trust level is dramatically lower than it used to be. And even my experience when I started selling real estate, if I could get somebody to talk to me, they generally trusted that I was a good person. If you showed up positive and you were happy and you were friendly and you were polite and respectful, people would generally give you a hearing because they would go like, okay, well, if you knocked on their door, it didn't immediately classify you as a crook, as a sleazy slime ball salesperson. They would trust you. Today, instead of being met with an inherent trust, you are mostly met with an inherent skepticism or suspicion. So much so that one of the fastest selling digital devices in America today is a little box that you can put outside your front door called Ring. How many of you have a Ring out on your front door right now? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? And Ring it's not a doorbell anymore. It is a security camera. So that when somebody knocks on my door, they don't have to knock. They just walk up close to get on my front porch or my front yard, and boom, the camera comes on and I get an alert on my cell phone that says, you got a stranger in front of your house. Well, it may not be my stranger. It may be my best friend, but we're suspicious. So we're guarded. So trust is, I call it the new resistance. That just breaking through that distrust that people automatically have, that skepticism, is tougher than it ever has been before, and it's only going to get more difficult to break through the resistance of people not trusting you. They're like, I don't trust you, so I'm not going to listen to you. How do you break through that? And the third big change that is happening that's going to affect real estate is what I simply call the turn. And that is the turn in the real estate market or in the market in general. Now, the question is, is the market going to collapse? Are we going to have another housing downturn? Is the stock market bubble going to collapse and all that? Here's what we just know. That history repeats itself. And every economic cycle, a boom is followed by an economic cycle of bust. So we know the market shift is coming. When's it going to get here? I don't know. There's some red flags that people are already seeing in the real estate market. In a lot of your markets, there are some red flags. Prices are softening. Builders are slowing down their building. Days on the market's going up. Inventory's going up. Number of expireds is going up. All of that is happening, showing interest rates have gone up. So all of that is showing a pressure on the market that says, are we coming to the end of the boom and are we getting ready to go into a downward market? We may be right now, it may be coming in the future, but we know this, sometime it's going to come, and when it comes, if you're not ready, you're going to get crushed. So how do you get ready for all of the change, and it's not like get ready for something that's coming. This is here, my friends. Technology. Right now, a lot of people talk about, and we'll talk about this on today's thing, about discount brokers. That discount brokers are like, how do we compete with the online real estate companies and the discounters and all that? Guys, you understand that there are now real estate companies out there that are no longer offering discount, like flat fee brokerage services. Like to get on the MLS, you can pay a flat fee. That's been around for years, guys. That's been around since back the 1900s, was discount brokers, flat fee, pay me a fee, I'll put your house on the MLS. Okay. Do you guys realize that today, that's not your only competition? Today, there are companies out there that will do a listing for free. Zero commission, zero flat fee. We'll put your house on the MLS and we'll list your house. We'll put a sign in your yard. We'll do it for free. We'll give you photography, everything. No charge, no commission, no fees, nothing. And you get to decide. And they're like, do you have to pay a commission to the selling agent? If you want, it's up to you. You decide. So this is not coming, my friends. This is here right now. The changes are happening. And if you're not ready for the changes for 2019, you're going to be crushed. Like most, and guys, this is not like agents getting crushed by the industry is not new. What do they say? The average failure rate, most real estate agents do not renew in their after 2 years, nearly 80% of the industry is out. 80% failure rate in 24 months. Nobody gets in with that plan, right? So we got to make sure we do something different so we get a different result. So let's talk about the secrets to crushing it in 2019 instead of being crushed by the 3 big changes. So we're going to talk about in this webcast today these 3 big changes. So these 3 secrets. So secret number 1 is that whoever wins the most motivated sellers wins. Real simple. Whoever wins the most motivated sellers wins the game. You get the money, you get the pretty life, the life of your dreams. The one who wins the most motivated sellers is the one who wins the game of real estate. Period. Secret number 2, and we're going to dive into that in a moment. So secret number 2 is how do you get full commissions every time while everyone else out there is caving in to what I call the cheap side of real estate? And how do you do it without giving people a bunch of BS? While all the pressure is going down, guys, to understand and put this in perspective, in the last 5 years, while the average sales price of a home in the United States has gone up 40% in the last 5 years. Average home prices in America have gone up by 40%. Sales volume is up double digits. Number of homes sold and so forth. The average agent commission in the United States is down over 30%. In the last 5 years. How is that possible? Granted, there's more agents, but there's still more transactions per agent. There's more sales volume per agent. Volume's gone up, sales prices have gone up, and commissions dramatically, and yet commissions have gone down dramatically, over 30% in the last 5 years. In this rising economy, in this housing boom, this great market, why is the average real estate agent's commission gone down, or the median commission has gone down by over 30%? Why? Because people are caving in. Downward pressure on commissions. How do you get full commissions every time while everyone else is out there caving into the cheap side of real estate? I've got coaching members that are literally charging a full percentage point more than the market standard in their markets every single time, and they're getting the listings every single time. And we're going to talk about the secret of how do you do that? How do you get full commissions so you're not having to get killed by commission cutters and discount brokers and so forth? Secret number 3 is why now is the best time ever to succeed in real estate sales. The reason this is so important is the reason I think I call it a secret is because so many agents are out there, and if you're reading a lot of the news reports and all that kind of stuff, it's like, the real estate agents are about to go the way of the taxi driver and the way of the travel agent and all of that. And I get these questions on my YouTube channel. I'll have new agents commenting. It sounds like it may be too late for me to get into real estate. It may be like the prime time to be in real estate is past. And my contention is that today, there has never been a time better to get into real estate. So why is now the best time ever to succeed in real estate sales? If you've got into real estate, if you're brand new, whether you're a brand new agent or a top producer, whether you've been in for 1 month or 20 years, this 2019 is the best time ever to be in real estate. There's never been a better time. So if you've been hearing about or worrying about, is it too late for real estate agents, and are we about to go the way of the dodo bird and go extinct and all that kind of stuff? Rest easy, my friend. It is not too late. You are so lucky to be right here, right now, with the opportunity to succeed. So let's dive into secret number one. Secret number one, whoever wins the most motivated sellers wins. You win, you get the lifestyle, you get all the money, you get the pretty life, you get the dream. If you're the one that wins the most motivated sellers. Now, what does all this mean? Here's what it simply means: that all lead generation, your entire business framework, all lead generation must be seller focused. If you want to succeed in the real estate market of the future, all lead generation, all your efforts to generate new business must be focused on winning sellers, not buyers. Everybody with me? Okay, so what is it? I want you to get this down clear. So I want everybody to post right now, sellers. Just post it. Just put hashtag sellers. This is the magic of real estate, is sellers. Motivated sellers. All your lead generation should be focused there. Think about it. How many of you as real estate agents, and especially if you're brand new and the first time you got into real estate, how many of you found yourself spending more time your first year working with non-motivated buyers than you ever dreamed? Like you found yourself spending so much time with somebody looking at houses, and then they didn't buy a house, and you thought everything was going great at first because you're like, I've got buyers, and I'm going out and showing houses. And that's kind of a lot of times new real estate agents think that's the name of the game, is I'm going to show a lot of houses and sell them. And then you start spending time with people who are interested in looking at houses that aren't ready to buy, and you're spending all your time grinding, and then they break your heart. All of your work, all of your lead generation, all of your effort to generate business should be seller focused if you want to win. Now, this is a shift, and I'm going to tell you guys that I made a huge mistake for nearly 20 years. I got it wrong because here's what I was taught from the beginning. Listings are the name of the game. How many of you were taught that? Listings are the name of the game. Okay? If you were taught that, just in the chat bar, just type yes. I was taught listings are the name of the game. Were you guys taught that? Listings are the name of the game. This is how you do it. Excuse me while I hydrate here. Listings are the name of the game, right? Mike Bowman, Gina. Yeah, so Gina, it's funny, Gina Black in Grapevine, Texas was at the same real estate company that I started with, Century 21 Mike Bowman. #1 Century 21 office in the world. I'm very proud to have been a part of that company, one of the best brokers I've ever known in my life. One of the best teams, leadership teams, best coaches, best trainers. I mean, amazing, awesome company. And Mike Bowman always said, listings are the name of the game. And he was close. No discredit to him. He was so close, but I realized something that all my life I said listings are the name of the game, but then I realized that was a fatal mistake many, many times, and I'm going to explain to you why. Can I explain why? Here we go. Here's why. Is that when you focus on listings, whose interest are you focused on? When I'm focused on getting listings, what am I really focused on? And the answer is, when I'm focusing on listings, I'm focused on what I want, not what sellers want. All right? Now, I take this and I put it into the realm of romance. If you want to win the girl of your dreams, what are you going to focus on? You're going to focus on what you want, or you're going to focus on what she wants? You want to win the girl of your dreams? You want to win a relationship? You got to learn how to focus on what they want, not what you want. You want to catch fish? You ever gone fishing? See, and one thing I learned as a kid about fishing is when I went fishing, I didn't put on the hook the food that I like to eat. Because see, I like Oreo cookies and milk. But fish, they like worms. So when I'm going fishing, I got to think about what they want, not what I want. Now, as a real estate agent, I want listings. But see, there's never been a seller ever born that wants to list. That's not what they want. What do they want? They want to move, right? They want to sell their house and move. So what they're looking for is not listing. What they're looking for is selling. They're looking for the success. They're looking for the result. So I realized that if you want to win the game, that the way you win is you win by winning sellers, not by winning listings. Now here's what that means, is when you focus on winning sellers rather than getting listings. Okay, so focus on winning sellers, not on getting listings. Why? Because when you win the client, when I'm focused on what they want, not what I want, I not only get the listing, but I also get their trust. I get their loyalty. Because they know that I'm focused on helping them get what they want. If you guys are with me, let me see some, I did this for my Facebook live stream. Let me see thumbs up. If you guys are with me, say yes. If this makes sense, so important. Sellers are the name of the game. It is win the client. Win the client and you get the listing, but you also get the loyalty. If you just go out and win the listing and they go like, yeah, I know what you want. You just want a listing so you can sell it fast and get a commission check. All right. Well, I don't really like it, but I got to hire somebody. So there you go. That's when you get resistance, right? Because they don't trust you. They don't feel safe. They think you're in it for you because they think you just want a listing and a sale. But when you want what the seller wants and you focus on winning them, that's when you win the game of real estate. So all lead generation should be focused. The secret is that whoever wins the most motivated sellers is the one who wins. Because here's what listings do. Now, when I win sellers, I get the listings. When I get listings, here's why you want all listings and no focus on buyers. Now, does that mean buyers are bad and you don't want to work with buyers? No, I didn't say that. Okay? I don't want to work with non-buyers. I don't want to work with lookers. I want to work with people who are actually ready to sell or buy a house. Never said buyers are bad. But here's why listings is where you want to put all of your focus, is getting the sellers so you can get listings. Because when you get listings, listings give you control of your destiny. They give you control of your business. They give you control of your time. So think about it this way. If this was the way I looked at it when I started real estate, and it kind of hit me on this, because I took, like when I first started taking listings, I realized that when I had listings, all the other agents out there that had buyers, they were going to work for me. They were showing my houses, my listings. They were showing my listings. They were working for my clients, for my sellers, and they were bringing the buyers, showing them and bringing offers and sending them to me. And then I could sit down with my seller and go like, all right, here we go. Let's negotiate and get you the best price. Wait, and so what that meant was that when I put listings on the board, when I had houses for sale, when I had clients that I were representing that had homes to sell, I could take a weekend off. I could take time off. And because I knew how to get all the marketing going and everything was out there, it was all working for me. And I got to choose when I clocked in and clocked out. Right? So when you have listings, you got time control. You also have control of buyers because see, when you market, don't ever market to get buyers. And that's one of the biggest wastes of money and resources is real estate agents that try to get online lead generation is they buy buyer leads from Zillow and places like that. The problem is that one, you're not the only one getting those leads most of the time, and they just tend to be low quality, tend to be a lot of work, low motivation, and it's the hardest clients to convert. And it's just not there. If you take a lot of listings, when you work with a lot of sellers, guess what you automatically get? Tons of buyers. Okay? For every seller you get, on average, you're going to get another buyer. And if you have the systems in place and everything in place to make it work, you don't ever have to worry about generating buyers. Buyers will come automatically when you have what buyers want, which is they want a house. So every time I put a sign in somebody's front yard with that house as the listing agent, every time I put a sign in that yard, now am marketing for all the buyer leads you ever want. Okay, so listings give you time control, give you control of buyers, it gives you market presence, and it gives you leverage. It gives you everything that you want to grow and scale your business and your income while still having a life. Okay, so powerful. So whoever attracts the most motivated sellers wins. That's it. You win sellers, you win the game. Secret number 2. This one's I love this. I won't say it's my favorite, but I love this one. It's how do you get full commissions every time while everyone else is caving in to the cheap side of real estate? All the discount brokers out there, all those. And by the way, guys, in every market, when we're in a rising and appreciating market and a seller's market, these discount brokers, they're going to pop up. And with the internet, it's made it easier for them to pop up. And so you see a more they're more prevalent, and it's not as expensive for them to market themselves as it used to be. So now they're more intense. They are more intensely invading into the real estate market. So how do you survive? Not just survive, how do you thrive? How do you win over that? And here is how you win over the threat of the technology disruptors, over the discounters, the disruptors, the cheap guys. Here's how you win. You make a decision. You make a decision of how you're going to build your business. And here is the decision that you make. Cheap or the best? This is how you're going to win and get full commissions while everybody else is caving in. Is you have to make a decision. And here's the decision that all of us got to make. In today's market, you have to either be the cheapest. If you want to win, you either have to be the cheapest or the best. There is no middle ground anymore. There's no middle ground. Because now people go online. People that are interested in selling their home, they're going online, going like, how should I sell my house? And when they start, what's the best way to sell my house? And there's a lot of venture capital going into these discount brokerages and these online real estate sales platforms that are crying out to these sellers and pulling them in, and they're going cheap. And you got to decide, well, I'm just going to lower my condition a little bit. How are you going to compete with the company out there that will do it for free? Go to haus.com, house.com, haus.com. Right now, you're competing with them. They do MLS listings for free. They'll help if they're like, we will help you sell your house and you don't even have to pay us a dime. That's out there. How are you going to beat that? How can you beat free? Well, you're not going to beat it on price, right? So you got to make a decision. I've either got to try to be the cheapest or I got to be the best. But let me tell you something, guys. Right now, coming up on 1.4 million real estate agents in the United States. That means in all of your markets, all these flood of new agents. And now there's this flood of iBuyers. With Zillow Instant Offers, and introduced a whole new category of the real estate industry of places for sellers to go to sell their house without even using an agent, right? All that stuff is happening. It's all going in there. It's all coming in there. And we've got to be ready for that because it's not coming. It's here right now. How are you going to compete with that? You've got to make a decision. Look, there is no value competing with all that and being the second cheapest. Well, I'm just going to reduce my condition a little bit. Why would they hire you? They've already found 3 other companies that would do it for next to nothing. If you're going to compete, if you're going to race to the bottom of pricing on commission, you're going to go broke. Right now, you maybe can survive because there's enough business going on, but when the market turns and everything starts going down, you're dead. Right? So we got to make a decision. I've either got to be the cheapest. There's no value in being second cheapest, third cheapest, fourth cheapest. There's no value there. How are you going to market yourself on that? So you either be the cheapest or you be the best. So think about it this way. If I want to get a new smartphone, I need a new smartphone. I can go to Walmart today. Right now, you can go to Walmart today and you can get a brand new smartphone for $19.48. Brand new. Smartphone, $19.48. Yep. Or you can go to the Apple store and you can line up and pay $1,100 for a smartphone. I mean, when was the last time you saw Apple put their iPhones on sale? Discount them. When was the last time? That would be like never, right? They don't discount, ever. Never do they discount. Now, here's what they will do. Black Friday, I'm like, is Apple going to do anything special? And they're like, yeah, we'll do something special. You buy a new iPhone, and we're going to give you a $50 credit to buy one of our other overpriced products. Right? Have you ever walked by an Apple store that was empty? Whenever Apple comes out with a brand new iPhone, you want to talk, what are people going to do? They're going to line up to pay $1,000 plus for an iPhone. Or you can go to Walmart for $19.48. And the only day that they don't have lines line up there, you don't want to be there at Walmart. So we got to make a decision. Are you going to be the Walmart of real estate, the cheapest, or are you going to be the Apple of real estate? Are you going to position yourself to be the best? There is no middle ground. And my proposition for you today, that if you want to crush it in 2019 rather than being crushed in 2019 and beyond, is make the decision to become the best. Because see, all of the technology disruptors, all the discount brokers, all the platforms, all the iBuyer platforms, all of that's out there. There is one thing they cannot compete on. And by the way, here's how they compete with you: is they portray you as a bad business decision. They portray you as too expensive, too outdated, too undependable. They cast you as a villain. Go to their websites. Go check them out. It's like crazy. They're like, you don't want to hire a real estate agent. They're going to charge you huge commissions, and they're never going to return your phone calls, and they're lazy, and they just want money, and it's going to be a hassle and complicated, and they have conflict of interest, and they cast you as the bad person. How are you going to win? You got to become better. See, one area where they will never compete with you, the one place where they can never compete with you, is on being able to deliver a better result. Now, they try to kind of make it sound like that, but the reality is there's no way. Because think about it this way. What does almost every motivated seller want? And what almost every motivated seller wants is they want the most money for their house. That's what they want. They want the most money for their house. They want the most money, they want in the best amount of time, and they want it with the least amount of hassle. That is what 99% of all homeowners want when they sell their house. All the technology disruptors, all the discounters and all that, they can try to say, we'll make it easy for you, but you're going to lose money. They just don't say that. That's the fine print. Because they're going to be cheap. And guys, when you've heard the saying, you get what you pay for, it's always been that way, and it will always be that way. So you got to make that decision. Am I going to be the cheapest, or am I going to be the best? Have you guys made a decision? Anybody want to put this on here? What? Now, here's a great question from Matt, and I'm not going to start reading questions. He said, what makes the best? Everybody says they're the best. So I'm going to get to that because it's a critical question in answering this. So here's what I want you to think about. The one unspoken question that every seller has. Here, when you talk to them, unless your goal is to be the cheapest, when you talk to them, here's their one question. Are you the best agent to get me the best results? Are you the best agent to get the best results for me? Not do you have the best marketing plan? They've never asked that question. Now, they may ask it to you on a listing appointment because they don't know how else to find out if you're any good. They're like, how do I find out? Just like even Matt saying, how do I know who's the best? How do I become the best? I mean, I don't know. How do you become the best? That's their question. They just don't know how to ask it. And so how does it show up? It shows up in objections, right? So here's the real question now, is their question is, are you the best agent to give me the best results? The real question is, if you want to win, is how do I become the best real estate agent? How do you do that, right? So Matt, that's your question, right? How do you become the best? What makes you the best? And here's how you become the best. You guys ready? By the way, it is now 12:42. This is where I'm going to lose most of you. I'm just letting you know, secret number 2 is where I'm going to lose most of you, because what I'm about to tell you is too hard. Okay? I want you to know, because it's the only way I know how to train is to help people succeed. I don't know how to get people's hope. I don't want to help get people's hopes up and then tell them a bunch of BS. So what I'm about to tell you is most of you from this point on are going to be like, you're going to check off this and go like, okay, that's not going to happen for me. So here's how you become the best. You guys ready? If you're ready, I want to see it. Tell me you're ready. You guys ready? Here we go. Ready? You want to become the best? Do what the best do. If you want to become the best in the world at something, you do what the best do. Now, if you want to become the best real estate agent, here's what I'm going to say. To set the standard of what makes somebody the best in the world at being a real estate agent, I would say I know I'm going to have to go outside the real estate industry to find that. Because in the real estate industry, the standard is so low. which is bad news and good news. Bad news because it hurts our industry. Good news because it's not hard to become better than everybody else. Okay? So what do the best do? When I think of the best, I think who are the people in the world who are in a space like real estate where the level of their performance is the standard of whether or not they're the best. The level of their performance tells you whether or not they're the best. In other words, can they perform better than anybody else at delivering a result? So I think of people like Michael Jordan. Why? Has there ever been a basketball player better at delivering a result than Michael Jordan? And the answer, no. He is the greatest of all time, hands down. Nobody has put more championships rings on the fingers of more teams than Michael Jordan. He's the best ever. So what did he do to become the best? Tom Brady, same thing in the different sport, but the same thing. The greatest of all time because he's done what nobody else has ever done. How did he become the best? Serena Williams, Michael Phelps. I could name, we could name people, just person after person after person. People like Jerry Rice, who scored more touchdowns in the history of the NFL than anybody else, and nobody else has even come close. What makes all of them, who are the greatest of all time, the best in the world at what they do, how did they become the best? Was it because they were more talented? And the answer is absolutely not. In fact, Tom Brady in the NFL Combine, which is kind of like the NFL tryouts for rookies, when he graduated from college after his senior season in Michigan, he went to the NFL Combine, and they go through this like tryout, and it's a bunch of different drills and stuff that they do, and then they score all the athletes. And to this day, and this was over 20 years ago when he was a rookie, right? To this day, there has never been an NFL quarterback candidate, somebody trying out in the NFL Combine, that has scored lower on the NFL Combine. Their performance score was lower than Tom Brady's. Never been anybody with a lower score. Which meant he was too slow. He didn't have a strong arm. He wasn't strong enough. He wasn't agile enough. He had nothing. And yet, nobody has won more Super Bowls than Tom Brady. Nobody has performed at a higher level in professional football than Tom Brady. Now, what do all of these and many, many others who are the best in the world at something have in common? And here's what all of them, without exception, have in common. A lot of people are talented. A lot of people are great, but here's what the best in the world have in common, is they out-train everyone else, period. They out-train everyone else, period. Serena Williams says, there's been many days that I didn't feel like training, but there's never been a day that I felt like losing. And so she's trained more than anybody else. Michael Phelps trained when he was getting ready for his Olympic gold medal run, where he has today won like twice or three times more gold medals in Olympic history than anyone else ever in 2,000 years of the Olympiad. Nobody's even come close to Michael Phelps. And there was one point in his career where he trained for thousands of days in a row without missing a single day. Every day in the pool, training. That's what they do better than anybody else. They out-train everyone else. And so I have this, there's a book by a guy named Daniel Coyle, and there's so many books. There's a book by Anders Ericsson named Peak. There's a book by a guy named Rasmus Anderson named The Goldmine Effect. And they talk about how do people that are the best in the world at stuff become the best in any performance, whether it's in business, in medicine, in performing arts, in sports. How do the best in the world become the best in the world? And one of the guys that studied this is a guy named Daniel Coyle, and he wrote a book called The Talent Code. And then he wrote a condensed version of it called The Little Book of Talent. And in it, he talks about how are the people that are the best in the world. And he went into what he called the hotbeds of talent, which is where the best performers in the world in different sports and music and things like that, what made them different? Why were they different? And what was different about them? And he went and visited dozens and dozens of these schools and training centers and places and studied them. And this is what he said. In fact, I've got the quote right here for you guys. And this is what he said. And it's a little small, so I'm going to read it to you in case you can't read it. I don't know if you guys can read it or not. But here's what he said. He said, if I had to sum up the difference between people in the talent hotbeds, which means the place where all the world champions come from, all the record holders, where they come from, if I had to sum up the difference between the people in the talent hotbeds and people everywhere else in one sentence, it would be this. In other words, before you look at it, what is the difference between the very best and all the rest? If I could sum it up in one sentence, now you would think this is a pretty important thing, right? Here's what it is. People in the hotbeds have a different relationship with practicing, with training, with preparation. The difference is not in the way they play the game. The difference is in the way they prepare to play the game. He says many of us view practice as necessary drudgery, the equivalent of being forced to eat your vegetables, far less important or interesting than the big game or the big performance. But in the talent hotbeds I visited, practice was the big game. It was the center of their world, the main focus of their daily lives. And this approach succeeds because over time, practice is transformative. In other words, it will change everything. Now, I learned this, guys, my first year in real estate when I showed up and I was told about role play. And they said, come to role play. I started coming into role play, and every day I would come into role play, and every day I would be many times I was the only one to show up. And I was in one of the top offices in the country, and nobody else would show up to practice role play. And I just remember thinking to myself, when I was in fourth grade and playing piano, I was supposed to practice 30 minutes a day. And when I wouldn't practice 30 minutes a day, my piano teacher wouldn't let me play in the recital because I didn't practice enough. And I'm like, most real estate agents don't ever practice. They don't practice anything. And you're going to audition for a $20,000 paycheck on a listing appointment. And how much time are you spending every day practicing the skill of what to say and how to say it to lead a seller to a decision? How much time are you training to be the best at delivering the best results? And see, most agents think they're too busy working to spend time training. And Abraham Lincoln once famously said, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the first 4 hours sharpening my axe. Preparation, training. The Spartan warriors used to say, he who sweats more in training bleeds less in battle. And I'm like, I've been on the phone with sellers and I've been in listing presentations where I got hit by an objection that just like cut the artery, man. I was bleeding. Bleeding everywhere, right? Because I wasn't prepared for it. And just like walking up on that for sale by owner's front porch, I was unprepared. And so, man, I bled like crazy, right? Almost bled to death because I wasn't prepared. I hadn't spent the time in training and preparation. The magic of real estate success, of how you get full commissions, is be better than everyone else. And here's what you got to become the best at. Number one, become the best at delivering the best results. Okay? What does that mean? That you sell every single listing you take, you sell it for top dollar, and you sell it fast. And you take care of all the hassle. That's what it means. Can you deliver better results than everybody else? You got to not only be able to deliver better results than everybody else, you got to be able to prove it. Now you go like, well, what do I do when I'm brand new? How do I prove it? You can't. You have to be that person who knows you can do that. So you show up with the confidence that I am 100% committed, that I will get you the best results, period, and I'll guarantee it. So one of the things I train people on is how to guarantee the best results. Okay, and I train in my training camp. I train on a 20-step selling system that literally, virtually guarantees that you will sell every single listing you take for top dollar. And I have dozens of real estate agents that I coach that have been in my training camps that are making heavy six-figure incomes, that have sold every single listing, many of them every single listing in their entire career. The ones that were lucky enough to come to Double Your Listing Training Camp, to come to my training camp when they were brand new, have literally sold every single listing they've ever taken. They are better at delivering results than anyone else. Because I look at even top producers all over the country, the average top producer will tell you you're going to sell 70 to 80% of your listings and 20 to 30% of them aren't going to sell. I'm like, why is that? It's because you don't know what to do to get the best results. Now, the hard part is delivering the best results. That's the first part of it. The second thing is you got to become a master. You got to become the best at inspiring sellers to say yes to you and to saying yes to you at the right price. Okay, make sure you note that. It's not just getting them to say yes to you and hiring you. They got to, if they say yes to you to list their home with you, but their home is overpriced by 10%, guess what's going to happen? It's not going to sell. How can you deliver results? You can't. You're going to fail. You're going to get an expired listing. They're going to not like you. They're not going to trust you. They're never going to use you again. And they're going to tell their friends, don't ever use that guy because he doesn't know how to sell a house. By the way, when you put up a sign in somebody's yard, like, I know it's overpriced, but at least I'll get the sign calls. You get the wrong sign calls. You put a sign up in the yard and everybody in the neighborhood, every single person that lives in that entire neighborhood, they see that sign go up and they go like, the Smiths are moving. And a month later, the sign's still there and they go like, I hope the Smiths get to sell their house so they can move. And then a month later, it's still sitting there, and 3 months pass, and 4 months, and 5 months, and 6 months pass. And no longer are the neighbors going like, the Smiths are moving. They're going like, I guess the Smiths ain't moving. And every day they see that sign in the yard and they see your name on it and your marketing right there. And what are you telling? What is your message that you are marketing to every homeowner that is a future seller? Every single one of them someday are going to sell their house and they're going to be looking for the best agent that can get them the best result. And every single day you've been marketing to them going like, hello, look at me. If you ever want to sell, don't call me because all I know how to do is put a sign in the yard and not sell. The day I realized that, everything changed for me. They call a real estate agent successful because they took 200 listings this year and sold 150 of them. And I'm like, you call that successful? Ask the 50 sellers whose house they didn't sell if they were successful. You want to win? You want to be able to get top commissions? You want to be able to get the sellers to say yes to you every time? You got to become the best at delivering results and then the best at communicating how well you can get them the best results. So in doing that, you've got to have a system. You have to have a process that one will help you get the best results every single time. And by best results, we're talking about getting their home sold for top dollar in the best amount of time with the least amount of hassle. That's what every seller wants, right? And inspiring the sellers to say yes to you. And the way you do that is by mastering the Yes Masters listing presentation. Now, many of you already have your copy of the Book of Yes, because the Book of Yes has in it all the scripts, all the objection handlers. It has the listing presentation in here. The listing presentation is the music, my friends. This is the magic. But unless you know how to perform it masterfully, you still don't get a yes, right? So you got to become the best at delivering that. I could take and give you the same exact playbook that Tom Brady has. I could give you the same exact uniform, same equipment, same football, and give it to you, and you could not go out and perform at the same level Tom Brady. Why? Because he's better. Because he trained to become the best in the world at what he does. And the same with all the other people who are the best in the world at what they do. Here's my question. Are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to train and realize that listing presentations, that's not the work. It's the preparation, it's the role play, it's the practice, hour after hour. So you take like the top coaching members that I have, people that I've trained that are the best, and the agents that are making sometimes 6 figures a month, that are taking listing after listing after listing and selling all of them. Like guys like this, Jacoby Kindred, okay? Here's a guy, Jacoby Kindred, real simple. He role plays at least an hour a day. I've got coaching members role play 2 hours every single day. They do it for like, I've got like Alex Kaliliford. I'll tell you about several, but Alex Kaliliford that will make close to $1 million this year and been in the business now for a little over 4 years. And for the first 2 years that he was a real estate agent, he was lucky enough to come to my training at the very beginning. And I told him, you sell every listing you take, and here's how you do it. You train every single day. You role play. You role play and practice scripts 1 to 2 hours every day. And he's like, I want to be the best, so I'm going to role play 2 hours a day. Every single morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. for 2 hours a day, he was role playing with other agents and practicing his scripts, his listing presentation, his objection handlers over and over and over again. He said, all I knew was even when I was new, that when I talked to a lead, when I talked to a prospect and they had a question or they had an objection, I was going to know exactly what to say and how to say it. And he mastered that. And to this day, he has sold, again, this year, and I don't know exactly where he's at on commission, but it's going to be high 6 figures. He has never had a listing not sell. His average days on the market is like 20 days or less. And His average list price to sell price ratio is above 100%. Why? Because he knows how to get homes. He's got a system that helps him get homes sold fast. Another example of that is Jacoby Kendrick. Jacoby came to my W Listing Power training camp as a brand new agent. As a rookie, he had just started full time. He's now been in for a little over 2 years. And he sent me this earlier this year. Now, this was in June. He sent me this after the first half of the year. It's actually in July. And he sent this to me. And this is a picture of him, a selfie he took of himself while he's door knocking. And he was just sending me this, and he said, hey, I wanted you to know what's up. So he sent me a screenshot of his production from his company. Year-to-date production, over 200,000, 33 units. This was in this was the first half of the year. He's in Midland, Texas. This was in July. And his goal for the year was 400,000, which he's nearly there. 400,000. It's his second year in the business. Second year in Midland, Texas, where the average sales price is not like high, right? And within his region, over 2,000 agents, he was number 2 out of all over 7,000 agents in his company. He was number 20 out of over 7,000 agents. And that kind of numbers is for a second year guy is just so amazing. He took this picture, and then he also sent me a screenshot of, it was 98 degrees and he's out door knocking, and he's just like in his suit and he's sweating like crazy. This guy trains like nobody else trains. That's why he's getting these kind of results. And so he sent me a text message, and he says, currently sitting with this screenshot, he says, currently sitting at number 20 in all of Weichert. Thanks again for all you guys do. Truly grateful. Loved your growth. It's inspirational. Can't wait for the new stuff to hit. I'm ready to take this number 1 spot in Weichert. And I just told him I was proud of him. And I said, who would have ever dreamed this 2 years ago? And he said, I wouldn't have. My first Vortex, which was his second training camp to come and attend, he said, you said that you could help me sell every listing, and that if I did what you told me, I wouldn't recognize my life. And you came through on your word. He said, I'm not done yet, but thank you. And guys, I could share with you story after story after story of agents just like Jacoby who've gone out there and they made a commitment. I'm not just going to go out there and try hard. I'm going to become the best at what I do in my market. And when you become the best at what you do, nobody can compete with that. And the discounters, now you go in and it's a whole different thing, because when you're the best, you show up different. And whenever you can guarantee and you show them statistics and say, I get your home sold every time and I will guarantee it. By the way, we train you on how to have a guaranteed sale. We train you on the 20-step selling system, on how to sell every single listing for top dollar fast. We're not talking about pricing them cheap and selling them low. We're talking about truly getting top dollar for your clients. This is not a BS approach. This is straightforward that you can't do when you're an amateur. You can only do it when you commit to become the best. Now, here's what happens when you become the best. You can do stuff like this. How do you say, well, how much is your commission? Don't you hate that objection? How much is your commission? How much do you charge? And when you're an average agent, you're like, well, I charge. And then we don't want to talk about it, right? We want to get away from that. And then, because we know it's going to now be a negotiation game. All right? But when you're the best at what you do, you can stand like Apple stands. I mean, how often does Rolls-Royce put their cars on sale? See, they don't put their cars on sale. They don't have to. Why? Because they're the best. So when you're the best, you can answer stuff like, how much is your commission? So this is some of the stuff that my top coaching members use. When somebody asks them, what's your commission? It's kind of like they chuckle and go like, well, it's a lot. In fact, I'm probably the most expensive realtor that you're going to talk to. However, can I tell you why? Yep, tell me why. Because I get more money for you in your pocket. Now, are you looking for a cheap agent, or are you looking for more money in your pocket? Now, when you're the best, you can say that. Now, how powerful is it if you want to crush it? If you want to compete with all the discounters and you're going to try to compete with them, it's going to be a race to the bottom. How low can you go with your commission and survive? But when you're the best, you can walk in and you can charge more than everybody else. And whenever they ask how much your commission, it's a great question. I am probably the most expensive agent you will talk to. Now, can I explain why? Because I get you more money, period, every time. And when you know how to do it and you get the skill to back it up, people will say yes to you because they will see it in your eyes. And they'll see it in the testimonials and reviews that you get that come along with it. All right? Okay, we've got a lot. We've covered a lot here. Let's get to secret number 3. Is this making sense? Can you guys tell me, is this making sense? Yes? If it is, would you give me some yeses? I'd just like to see. Make sure I'm not confusing anybody. But right here, you have to commit to become the best. I think it's the only way you're going to survive in real estate and make a lot of money. Okay? Or either that or you're going to have to try to become the cheapest. And that's a race to the bottom is a... Look, guys, how many years do you want to do real estate with the profitability of an Amazon? Amazon is what, the biggest company in the world now, or close, one of the biggest companies in the world? And yet to this day, they have virtually not broken a profit. That's not my business model. Good for them. You know, and for Jeff Bezos, he's amazing. Amazon's amazing. I love Amazon. They're awesome. But it's not the business model that you want to make if you want to win and have a great life, right? No racing to the bottom. When you become the best at what you do, you get paid for your performance. All right, you guys with me? Making sense? All right, secret number 3. Secret number 3 is why now is the best time ever to succeed in real estate. You want to know why? Well, first, let's deal with the false belief. The false belief that realtors are going out of business because of technology, that realtors are becoming obsolete, that we're going to go the way of the taxi driver, the way of the travel agent, that all the technology is everything comes. People don't need real estate agents anymore. See, the truth is that this is the best time ever to succeed faster and to make more money bigger than ever before. Why? Because right now, there's never been a time when we had so many resources at our disposal for lead generation and lead conversion. All the new stuff, all the technology, all this, it's never been better. Guys, it's never been better. I mean, literally, you can go anywhere you want to go now as a real estate agent, and you can pretty well do everything that you want to do right here. It goes with you. I mean, when I started selling real estate, my friends, you could not email a contract. You had to fax it. And there were a lot of companies, and like, you want to do a HUD transaction, they would not accept a fax or a digital signature. I literally had to get in the car and drive all the way to the HUD building and turn it in by hand. I mean, it was just a different world. And now with technology, and there's never been a time we had as many resources for lead generation and lead conversion as we have at our fingertips today. The problem is, if you don't know what you're doing, or if you're still trying to follow the same old business models, it isn't going to work. But the opportunity right now is greater than ever before to succeed if you get it right. It's never been that we had so many resources for lead generation and conversion that without requiring a boatload of cash or a black belt in technology. So not only do we have more tools than ever before, but the tools are more user-friendly than ever before. And it's just gotten so much easier. Now here's the hiccup. Is that the old ways won't work. If you want to succeed going forward, there's never been a better time. But if you're still trying the old strategies that are still being taught by most real estate people, most real estate offices that they're still training you on, the old ways won't work. Now, even something as new as Facebook marketing is still not going to work if you're still doing it with an old strategy. And what I mean by that, the old ways of building a business was primarily this. We found a one-dimensional business model that worked for us, and we took one shot and we either got a deal or we didn't get a deal. For my example, for my personal experience, how I built my real estate business, I had a one-dimensional thing. I picked up a phone, I called for sale by owners and expireds. That's it. That was one-dimensional. I called for sale by owners and expireds, and basically I had one shot. I called them, they talked to me, they either said yes or they didn't. That was it. One dimension, one shot. I remember as a kid going hunting. Now I grew up in Texas, and so we used to go bird hunting. And when I was in high school, my dad really wasn't a hunter, but we had a lot of guns because that's just what you did when you grew up in the country in Texas. And so I remember going bird hunting with Brian Carter and his dad, who was a big bird hunter, and we'd go out and we went quail hunting, hunting quail, and so you had a shotgun. So I had my shotgun, and my shotgun was a single shot, which meant it was a bolt action, and you could put one shotgun shell in it, and you close it, and you got one shot. So whenever you see a covey of quail take off, you're aiming, and you get one shot, and you either hit them or you don't. And Brian, he had a multi-shot thing. It was a pump shotgun, so he could shoot, and he could go bam, 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 and he could take a covey of quail, and if 20 quail took off, he could get 4 or 5 shots off, and in that time, he was going to hit a quail, and sometimes multiple quail. And I was always like, I need that. I need that pump shot. I need more than one shot in my gun, in my barrel, if I'm going to win. And the old ways of real estate is one-dimensional, one shot, and if it didn't work, we just went like, oh, well, next. And we just went on. I mean, it was kind of like this. This is kind of the one-dimensional approach that most, and even today, most agents are still using. It's knock on the door. If there's no answer, you leave a business card, and then what? Nothing. That's it. Dead end. One-dimensional, one shot, and it's over. Or you call somebody, no answer, leave a message, one shot, it's over. Or you send a postcard, you send another postcard, one-dimensional, and another, no response, dead end. And that's the way it goes. You meet somebody, give them a business card, ask them to call you, and they never call you, dead end. Just the way it goes. Or you call or knock, and somebody answers, and they talk to you and goes like, yeah, well, I'm not interested. What happens next? Nothing. Dead end. I took my shot. Next. Or I call or knock, and they say, no, we're not moving. They throw an objection out, and they say, we're not selling. What do you do next? Well, dead end. Next. Call or knock. They throw out an objection that stumps you. Dead end. One dimension, one shot. If you don't get the listing, don't get the appointment, it's over. Right? And it's just, it plays out over and over. We call, they hang up on you. Dead end. What's going to happen is the old ways aren't going to work. Success today requires a multi-dimensional. In fact, I want you, if you guys are not taking note, I want you to write this down, okay? Success today requires a multi-dimensional, not a one-dimensional business model. It requires a multi-dimensional lead generation and lead conversion leveraged business model. That's what it requires. You cannot come in and go like, well, I'm going to specialize in this niche, or this is my thing. I'm looking for that thing. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it. You can do it. I'm just saying you're not going to crush it in your business in the terms of making money and having the lifestyle of your dreams. It requires today a multidimensional lead generation and lead conversion leveraged business model, and most agents don't have it, and most people aren't training it. Most coaches out there, they're not training it, and when the ones they are training it, they're way overpriced. In other words, you're having to spend a fortune to get it going, to build it, and it doesn't work. So we got to figure out something to do it. Now, here's the beauty of it, is the resources are all there. And that's why this is the best time, is if you have a multidimensional lead generation, lead conversion, leverage business model, there's never been a better time to build that because of all the resources that we have for success. So I just want you to think about, what are all the different ways that are out there available to you right now that you can succeed, that are actually affordable and that do not require you to have a black belt in technology? What are the different ways that you can lead generate and lead convert? One, the phone still actually works. The problem is, if it's just your only dimensional approach, if it's the only shot you got, it's not going to work by itself. But it's still there and it still works for some people, right? There's still going to be times it's going to work, and it's going to work consistently. We got text messaging now. So you got the power to call somebody, and you also have the power to message them. You have the power, you've got email. We've got video. Not that requires some fancy video production or anything like that. Your cell phone has got a better, right here, guys, your smartphone has a better quality video camera in it than movie studio cameras had 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. Okay, today we got social media, and it's totally free. And you can generate and convert leads with that. We've got the internet, and the internet that is has so many different multifaceted dimensions and opportunities for us. And with the internet is now software that allows you to put your presence on the internet, to build landing pages, to build sales pages that can attract people to build your own websites in ways that are practical and functional if you use the resources correctly. Print advertising, the resource of print advertising, by the way, print marketing still works. But if it's your only thing you're doing, if it's one-dimensional, it's going to be tough, right? But we still have that as a resource. Direct mail still works. In fact, direct mail is probably working better today than email, because now, used to email was special. Now everybody's inundated with email. But how many times do you get a piece of a handwritten note in the mail now? You want to guarantee somebody's going to open a piece of mail from you? Make it a handwritten personal note. They're going to open it. They're going to read it, because it doesn't happen anymore. So direct mail is a great resource out there. And because of print technology and because of online, the ability to order stuff online and use companies like Send Out Cards, your ability to use direct mail is simpler and better than ever. And the cost has never been lower, especially when it comes for the opportunity to return on business. And believe it or not, actually talking to somebody face to face still works. Isn't that amazing? Now, all these resources are out there for us, and you look at them and go like, oh, look at all the resources you have to succeed. Everything that the disruptors are out there they're utilizing, the only reason they're succeeding is because they've developed a model. They've developed a system to help it work for them, to put it all together in a way that actually does it. What if you could put it all together in a way that draws, has a leveraged business model that constantly draws sellers, motivated sellers, into a relationship with you where they're lining up to list with you? And I realized this a little over a year ago, that the one-dimensional, one-shot business model that most of us have used forever is not going to work anymore. And so we really started diving in and dialing in of how is this going to work better than anybody else is doing it, and how can we become the best at helping you become the best at doing it. And in developing that, we developed a model called the real estate vortex. And we've been training on the real estate vortex now for the last 5 and 6 years, and it's helping agents just dramatically increase their income and their business. And now we're brought in a whole new dynamic of that this year, for the first time, we're going to be training it at Double Your Listing Power Training Camp, called the Seller Vortex. Even my coaching members have not been trained on this yet, because we're still developing it. It's that fresh, it's that new, and yet what we've taken what the best of our coaching members are doing, the best from my experience and my background, and now we're taking the best in the world at communication, at sales, at marketing, and the best real estate agents, and what our agents are doing that's working for them today, and we have created the Seller Vortex. Now, here's what the Seller Vortex is about. Imagine having a leveraged business model that uses multidimensional approach, that uses all the resources that we just talked about to generate leads. So we have lead generation vortices that help you attract who? Sellers, right? That help you attract sellers. And then once you attract them, is a lead follow-up vortex to help take the ones that are not ready to get to hire you right now, and so that I can build a relationship, so I can position myself. The full listing vortex of how do I set the appointment, pre-qualify the appointment, and then go on the listing appointment and actually get them where they cannot tell me no, where that they're saying yes to me and hiring me to list their home on the very first meeting. And it's happening over and over. And then finally, with that, in the seller part of the vortex is what I call the home selling vortex. And that is, how do you take a listing, how do you take a home for sale and create with it a home selling vortex that draws in the best buyers who will pay top dollar the fastest, so that you get the best result for your client every single time. This, my friends, is the secret to winning real estate in the future, is having, and this is frankly, this is why now is the best time to ever get into real estate, is because we have all these resources. All we had to do is put it together into a leveraged business model that we call the Seller Vortex, to help you generate leads, to help you convert those leads, to help you list their properties and sell them for top dollar and get the best results every single time. And in the process, to help you become the best at doing it. Now, let me just ask you guys a question. I know we've covered a lot here. Has it felt like you just been kind of drinking from a fire hose, right? With all the information we've been covering right now. So I want to just make this really, really simple. As we get ready to plan, and what we're going to do right now is I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that we're doing right now to help you add 6 figures to your business in the next 12 months. Our company, we have one commitment. We look at every real estate agent that we have an opportunity to work with. And you're here today on this, giving me the opportunity to help you and help your business. I've got one commitment that we have for our company for your business. And that is, if you're willing to do the work, is we want to help you add 6 figures to your bank account this year. In 2019, we want to help you add $100,000 or more. And if you want more, I mean, it can be multiple 6 figures into your bank account this year. That is our commitment. And so I'm going to talk about some stuff we're doing right now to help you do that. And then after that, we're going to spend some time in Q&A. And before that, we're going to talk about how do you do a little business planning for 2019. And we're going to actually do a little traditional business plan for that. And I'll talk more about that in a minute, okay? But first, I want to talk about some things that we're doing right now to help you add 6 figures to your bank account this year. I guess my question is, do you guys want 6 figures added to your bank account this year? If you do, can you type yes? Type in yes. And I'm not getting, my stream is not working anymore. Russo, can you check on that? I'm not getting any comments. Yeah. So here's what we're doing. I want to invite you today to come join me and spend 3 days with me in person, live in Los Angeles, California, February the 11th through the 13th for Double Your Listing Power Live 2019. Now, we've been doing Double Your Listing Power training camp now for about 6 years. And every year it has continued to evolve. But this year, for the first time, we are introducing the Seller Vortex. And again, we've taken everything that's happened and we've brought in this multidimensional approach, bringing both offline and online strategies to help you crush it in your business. And just to give you an example, you saw while we were talking about the one-dimensional, one-shot approach. So I'll give you an example of one of our coaching members who is now using an online portion of our Vortex that we call it the Online Vortex. And so we take, instead of having a regular website like most agents have, you have a Vortex website, which means it actually draws sellers into a relationship with you. And so this happened with Eric Gardner. Eric Gardner is a rookie real estate agent in Park City, Utah. And I say he's rookie. This is his first full year. He started in I think he's been in for maybe a year and 4 or 5 months now. But this is his first full year in real estate. He's made over $250,000 his first year in real estate. And he set up his online Vortex, which is part of the Seller Vortex. He set it up and he was calling an expired. The expired hung up on him, but because he had the seller's cell phone number, he sent him a text and said, hey, here's a link that will give you some more information to help you know what to do next to get your home sold. And that link took him to his Online Vortex, which is a very different kind of web page, okay, which we train at the Double Your Listing Power Training Camp. He literally got a text message back from that seller saying, okay, basically we want to meet with you and come talk to us. They set up an appointment and Eric went, and it was over a $1 million listing from an expired listing who hung up on him, an expired listing who would not talk to him. Now, in the old days, in my world, as a real estate agent, if anybody hung up on me, I would call them back sometimes and they wouldn't answer, go to voicemail, leave them. It was just a one-shot deal, boom, and it's over. But what we've created now is we have helped develop for our coaching members and for the agents that we work with, we've helped develop a multi-dimensional Vortex model that if you don't get them with a phone call, you don't get them with a door knock, you don't get them with the direct mail, you'll get them with this. And we just create a multi-dimensional approach that is very, very affordable. The cost is, unbelievably reasonable for the amount of money that these guys are making and the amount of return. He literally got the text message, didn't even have a conversation with him until he set the appointment, and then went out and took it was over $1 million listing. The same exact thing happened, and this is all brand new strategy. Creating this Seller Vortex is all brand new stuff. And Yelena Moon in Los Angeles here is a real estate agent. She set up her Online Vortex. She had an expired that she could not get in touch with. And she was able to get, and I don't remember the whole story of how it happened, but anyway, I know that she got them a link to her Online Vortex. They went to it. This is a seller that would not talk to her, an expired listing that would not talk to her. They go to her Online Vortex. They check it out. they text her and say, okay, we want to meet. And so she sent me a screenshot of the text message, and basically at the end it says, their text message says, make sure you bring your paperwork. We want to get started as soon as possible. That was they literally were saying, we're listing with you, period. They would not even talk to her on the phone. But because she had a multidimensional business approach, they said yes to her. That is the stuff that we're going to be training at Double Your Listing Power Training Camp. Everything that we've talked about, the 3 secrets of how to win with sellers, how to win the most motivated sellers, how to charge top commission, how to become the best at what you do in delivering the best result, and how to create a multidimensional lead generation and lead conversion vortex that will literally draw business to you and have people lining up to list with you. That's what we're going to be training for 3 days. You can come work with me for 3 days in Los Angeles, February the 11th through the 13th. This is a limited amount of people because we keep it fairly small because of the way I need to interact with you guys and train you. So we keep it fairly small. So we will sell out as we always do. And so here's the deal. Commit right now, put it on your schedule, February the 11th through the 13th. I think they're posting a link. Elena, can you guys post the link? Have you done that? Can you let me know if they posted the link? They're posting a registration link. The regular tuition for that is $497. That's what it costs to come to the event. However, today we're going to give you an early bird special for those of you that are ready to commit and take action today. So here's what's going to happen at Double Your Listing Power Training Camp. Okay, there are 4 things that we're going to work on for 3 full days. Number 1 is how to create, and I know there's a lot here, but it's how to create your own online and offline lead generation vortices that work for you 24/7 without having to pay Zillow or other portals for expensive, low-quality leads. The second thing is how to create a consistent flow of motivated prospects lining up, literally lining up to list with you. And third, how to have the presence and presentation that makes those motivated sellers say yes to you every single time. So we'll be training you on how to do a listing presentation in a way that they can't say no. We'll also train you on how to have the presence. So it's not just what you say, it's how you show up. How do you have the presence that just inspires people to trust you and have confidence? We do a lot of training on how you show up, on presence, which is incredibly powerful. And then finally is here's how to be the best in your market at delivering the best results for your clients every time. Simply put, is how to sell every single listing you take, every single time for top dollar, and literally be able to sell your listings for more than any other agent could sell them for. And I've not only been doing this with my coaching members and clients, but other top producing agents that I'm working with. For example, Greg Haig in Scottsdale, Arizona, that is taking on average over 15 listings a month in the high end. This is in PV, Paradise Valley, and Northern Scottsdale in Arizona. So it's the high end. His average list price is probably over $1 million. He has literally sold every single listing in the last 2 years in this luxury market. He's sold every single listing he's taken. His team is averaging about $500,000 a month in commissions. And when I asked him, I said, do you actually, can you honestly just look at a seller and can you honestly believe that you're the best agent they could hire to get them the best results? And he said, absolutely, no question about it. When you become that good, you are unbeatable. And that's what you're going to learn here at Double Your Listing Power Training Camp. And I just want you to think about it for a minute. If all this training did was help you get listing appointments that you've been missing, either 1, because of objections that have been stumping you, or 2, because they won't talk to you. They hang up on you. They won't answer the phone. You knock on the door and nobody's home. They've already moved. If all it did was help you get appointments with those people, what would that do for you? If it helped you to stop wasting time with unmotivated buyers and sellers, if all it did was help you beat the discount brokers and their cheap commissions, if all it did was help you get 1 extra listing a month, would it be worth the $497 tuition? That's kind of a stupid question, I know, but I want you to think about it, because people go like, I don't have $497. Are you kidding me? If you wanted to go to college for 1 semester right now for a full semester, it's going to cost you probably well over $10,000 almost at any college, just for a semester to do nothing but take a few courses and get a few credits, right? We're talking about $497 that will put you on a path to a 6-figure income increase for you in your bank account this year. Double Your Listing Power Training Camp, February 20th February 11th through the 13th, 2019. Regular tuition, $497. The early bird special, this is like no brainer, like ridiculous, only $149. I'm almost embarrassed to even tell you the price. It's that low. And I'll also tell you, it's the best training you'll ever come to. If you come to the when you come to the training, if you don't agree it's the best, then we'll refund your money. I mean, it's just simple that way. Bottom line is that it's not just about selling more houses. It's about you crushing your goals for 2019 so that you can have the life that you want. So here's my invitation. Come join me. If you come and get locked in a room with me for 3 days, my promise is it will change your life and it will transform your business and your income. Just like Jacoby said, when he showed up at my training camp the first time and I told him, if you'll do what I say, you will not recognize your life 2 years from now. And he said, it's true. And that can happen for you.